I'm at LCSW, although when I came to Florida, I decided that I was going to retire, I thought. Best laid plans, right? God had another plan for me. I just found that I really missed, I was a therapist, and I really missed working with people. So I ended up going to home instead, and I was a caregiver for some time, and have now kind of moved through the system and was their marketer for a while, and I'm getting to your answer. And then became community liaison. I was an adjunct professor for the University of Tennessee College of Social Work. And I did my undergrad in Toledo, Ohio at a small private college. Who did that? Toledo. Lived in Toledo twice, as a matter of fact. And then did my graduate work and my clinicals in Tennessee. They actually had a campus in Nashville, and then I became an adjunct professor as well, and so I worked from Nashville to Memphis, in between doing that. So mostly in community mental health centers, and then I worked independently, and then I was a mitigation specialist for capital crime cases. So I was a clinician at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital in the NICU and in the orthopedic unit. So kind of a broad base of background, but with clinical social work, that's something that you can do. I mean, it really offers a wide range of opportunities for you to work with people and hopefully do some good in the world. So
we're ready.
Are we ready?
It's working. So
right.
I guess we'll start over.
Do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just introduce you.
Pretend like you don't know.
Good afternoon, and everyone who's watching online, as well as those in attendance here at Rock of Ages. We're happy to have this afternoon Deborah Wolkamer, a retired...
able to age in place. Age in place. What does that really mean? I mean, I think it's become kind of a new buzz term, when really all it means for all of us is that we want to be able to live safely and independently in our own home as long as we possibly can, right? There's like 73 million seniors, 65 and older, in the United States. And when canvassed, over 90% of them say that's what they want to do. They want to be able to remain in place. So we know what we want to do, but most of the time we don't know how to make that happen. Anybody have like firm plans on how to make that happen, that just get to stay home as long as you want? Probably not. But it's a good problem to have. 30 years ago, even as recently as 30 years ago, we didn't have any options. If something happened to you and maybe you lost your eyesight, or maybe there was a mild stroke or cognitive decline, even surgeries, like hip surgeries or knee surgeries that cause you to not be able to do your ADLs or your activities of daily living, there weren't choices. You either went to a facility, or maybe fortunately you had family that you could go live with, but that was it. It was A or B, and that's all. Well, because of technology, because of a lot of advocacy with the government, with companies that are home health and home care, they're different, and I'll talk about that later. We do have options now for being able to stay in place, regardless of whether or not we need help. So, good news number one is you have options, and we're going to talk about how to do those. Second thing I really want you to think about is that aging in place is on a continuum. It's not either or. We kind of have to work toward that. There's things going on all the time that help us to get to that place. And the first thing, and this is what I'm going to talk about mostly today, is prevention. So it's about prevention with your own care, with your health, about prevention with how you eat, your lifestyle, but very importantly, it's about prevention in your home. I want you all to think about the fact, even though we forget sometimes, we are no longer 30 years old. We're not 40. You're kidding. Most of us probably aren't 50. We're older than that. And things change. How we move changes, how we think changes. We have to do some things differently. So as I'm talking about this, I want you to think about that. We have to think about how we go about our lives a little differently than we used to do. According to the CDC, most all accidents that actually threaten our independence, that will hurt us and cause us not to have the independence we had before, happen in our home. That's just a stated fact. They also claim that there are 4 categories, and if you want to pass those out now, 4 categories of ways that we lose our independence, of things that can happen to us that threaten our independence. What do you think some of those might be? Falling, number one. What else? This is interactive, folks. We waited a long time. Statistics would say that we need to talk about it because it's much bigger than people seem to think it is. I'll just give you a couple facts because I don't want to spend most of my time on this. But according to the CDC, 1/2 of all seniors in this country have a recorded fall every year. And every second of every day, a senior falls. Every second of every day, a senior in this country falls. Every 19 minutes, it results in a shuffle. So tripping on your own feet, and one of the things, and I'm not going to look around a whole lot, but flip-flops. Oh my stars, flip-flops are just dangerous. For men and women, flip-flops. You know, you go to take a step and your foot goes and the shoe doesn't, or vice versa, and down you go. I can't tell you how many people I know that have fallen because of flip-flops. Because we shuffle. And we don't have the core strength anymore that we used to. So if we're on our way down, we can't kind of keep ourselves together like we used to. That's the part I want you to be like always thinking. I'm not 30. If I trip, what are the chances that I can keep myself upright, or that I go down and I break a wrist, break a shoulder, knee, whatever. Tripping, excellent one. Any other ones that y'all want to, John?
I think balance declines with age.
Absolutely, just your balance in everything that we do. No core strength anymore. So hold on to something, you know, and be able to practice your balance standing on one foot. Hold on eventually just with one finger, but work on that. You can watch TV, you can stand there at the stove cooking, you can pick it up. It takes a while for it to get to your heart, which then isn't oxygenated way more than you need to know, but then it doesn't get to your brain, and so we become a little bit lightheaded and off. So when you go to get up in the middle of the night, and I'll bet you every one of us in here do, just put your legs over the side of the bed for a minute and just like let yourself kind of collect and then go. Plus it's dark, people have rugs, people have things laying around that they trip on. Getting out of bed, whether it's morning when you're waking up or during the night, really, folks, that is a really important one. And something that I know some people say, oh, these really don't work well. I'm telling you, I use it all the time. These are so inexpensive. This one turns different ways. It's a gripper. I'm proud to say I can still do this, but I shouldn't do this. If I drop something, I can bend over and pick it up. Good for me, right? But not. Because what's happening when I bend over like that? Blood's pooling to my head. Blood pressure changes. A lot of us are on blood pressure medication, sugar diabetes, things that can affect that. Why do that? Why not just do this on things that you can? It is really something that can save that tripping over your feet kind of thing or losing your balance. I mean, you're in a 3-point stand at that point. You're just going forward, right? So I want you to think about doing that. Anything else on falling that you want to talk about specifically? Those are kind of the high points.
What about with pets getting under your feet?
Absolutely. And what about water? Getting out of the shower or refrigerators? There's things that you can do to prevent these things. Fire. Again, statistically, there is a home fire every 93 seconds in this country. The storm that we had, I know of 2 homes that were hit by lightning, fire, lost everything. Fire is something to really, really consider. But other than the lightning, which is very real around here, why else might we have to worry about fire? Cooking. And so I'm not going to hear that sizzle in the pot. I'm not going to maybe smell the fact that something's starting to burn, right? Think differently. Use a timer. Most of us have smartphones at this point. How hard is it to say, hey Siri? Well, she's going to, you know, just set a timer so that you know. And think about what you're doing on a stove. Clothing with pockets sometimes will catch on a knob. So think differently. Those are some of the big ones. Damaged wiring, dryer lint. Make sure you're always cleaning that out. But what I want to really make sure of is I want you to think about having a fire extinguisher. How many of you have one? Oh, that's so good. I'll have something to give you all. How many of you have more than one? The number goes down, okay. I suggest You can get these online, and it's an ABC, and that's what I want you to look for. An ABC fire extinguisher will get any kind of fire, oil, electricity, gas, anything. Now, how many of you have ever had to use one? I'm sorry that you did. How many of you know how to use one? Like, you feel confident that you can just pick this up and use it. For those of you who don't, congratulations to those of you who do. Just remember the word PASS, P-A-S-S. And PASS stands for pulling the pin, aim it at the base of the fire, squeeze these handles, and sweep back and forth. Right? Pull the pin, aim at the base, squeeze the handles, and sweep. I would suggest that people have one certainly in their kitchen. I would suggest that if you have a grill outside, that you have one in the grill, perhaps the garage, ground. And then oftentimes it'll come with these gloves. And so you can do this without worrying about burning yourself in the process. I have one of these in my cabinet in my kitchen, like all the time. So wherever I have one of those, I have these. I also would like to ask you all to consider doing a fire drill. You know, we did fire drills and bomb drills based on our ages, right, when we were younger. My husband and I live in the villages, and we have, practice it. Once a month, just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to have a fire drill. And do it. And go outside and meet where you're going to meet. Make sense? Yes, sir. John.
How many people have a fire extinguisher and never, ever
Thank you.
touched it?
Just to dust it.
And they do nowadays.
We dust it.
You can take them, I want John to, because he's got a great thing, but you can take them to the fire department and check, but they usually have a date on them, so always check that.
Yeah.
But John's idea is wonderful.
The powdered chemical in the bottom of the fire extinguisher settles to the bottom. And you need to loosen it up. If it's sat there for 3 or 4 years,
Sure.
it may not really come out effectively when you need it. Turn it upside down and wrap it with a mallet or shake it, like once a year.
That is such a great suggestion, and I'm going to write that down to use in other places, but I wanted John to share that.
That's one of the things that can happen.
With everything that I'm saying today, I want you to think about having a plan and not waiting until there's a crisis. None of us make a good decision in crisis. Nobody does, ever. So have a plan. Just have a plan and work the plan. All right, food poisoning. Again, statistically, 1 in 6, or 48 million seniors out of the 73, so that's more than half, will get sick from food poisoning every year. We're not 40, I keep saying that. When we get ill from food poisoning, we are not going to do as well as when a 30 or 40-year-old gets ill, right? We have other conditions going on. You know, we don't have the strength of heart. We don't have, we start to do rapid vomiting and or diarrhea. We're going to dehydrate much more quickly. Medications aren't going to absorb the way they should, right? It's a dangerous situation for us. Now, why are we having so much trouble and have such a huge percentage of people getting food poisoning? What are some of those reasons?
Leave things in the refrigerator too long.
You're going to have all my giveaways because you keep answering. Thank you. Why do we leave things in the refrigerator too long? I got an answer. Partly because our memories aren't as good. We forget. I can't tell you how many times I'll pull something out of the refrigerator and say, honey, when did we have this? Did we just have this week, or was this? Don't remember. Don't remember. If it's something that's pre-done, the dates on those things are so little, we don't see as well. And so we're squinting to see when oh yeah, I think that says, 8:15, when really, we just don't think about doing that. Cutting boards, you probably all know, that can really cross-contaminate. Sponges are evil. Sponges are bad. If you're gonna use a sponge, make sure you put it in the dishwasher and or the microwave on a pretty regular basis. They're not good. One of the biggest culprits, I'm running through this pretty quickly because I want to make sure I can get through everything. One of the biggest culprits is eggs. Anybody know what the kind of rule of thumb is of eggs? Not a day, and you just don't know. So how hard is it to just take a cup of water, put the egg in. If it floats, it's not good. If it's right in the middle, if it doesn't do either one, you could use it, but use it that day. But if it sits on the bottom, that egg is fresh. Okay? Please write that one down if you didn't. Eggs are one of the #1 culprits of us getting food poisoning. So that, you load it into your car, and then you drive home, maybe right away, maybe you stop for something, and then you get home and you unload it and you put it on your counter, and then you start to put it away. How much of that 2 hours did you just use? So it's not 2 hours, maybe more, right? It's not just 2 hours from when you got home and set it out. It's already been out for quite a while. So really think about that. Perishables for 2 hours, and if it's 90 degrees outside, 1 hour. Yes, ma'am.
We always take ice packs with us when we go shopping.
Yeah, that's a great
And we
idea.
have the insulated bags, and if we
That's
know,
right.
we have a list of what we're buying. So we take, multiple of these
Yeah.
packs
Perfect.
and put them in the bags.
I'm sure I have my stuff. Pharmacological misuse or medication misuse. What do you think are some of the problems with that, especially for seniors?
Forget to take them.
Memory, you forget it.
We forget it.
Or take too many.
We take extra.
Because we forget we
Take the wrong pill?
Take the wrong pill. A lot of them look alike, or you go to get it and the manufacturer changed what it looks like, right? So you don't recognize it right away. All of those things are reasons. So for that reason, and I said to Karen, I've got some things back here. One is for mobility kinds of things. One is going to be about medications. I'm not pitching any company. Please hear me with that, including my own. I just want you to know that there are some options where you can get those kinds of things, and then you can call on your own if you want them. In this case, I just want to so see if you've got a place that can do something like this for you, and it's free. So it's worth looking into. However,
What are they called, these pill bags? Or-
packaging.
if you would talk to various pharmacy, I think you would just ask for the, just went right out of my head, see, the memory thing.
Pre-filled?
Or packaging.
You don't run that risk with a pack like this. They got him back on the heart medication and he was fine, thank goodness. But that can happen. Sometimes, somebody over here said like you maybe take too much. Sometimes you don't realize that you took it, or you think, this isn't really working. I want to take another one. There's a whole lot of medical marijuana going on now. That doesn't mix necessarily with everything else that you take. So talk to a pharmacist. When we do home care, they've helped us design even boxes that you can put a lock on, or that are numbered, that it hangs off of. I mean, they really do a good job with that.
What-
Yes.
Like, my pills all come like refills at different times. So, like at this Travere's, you take all your pills over there
They
and
work.
then pay them to put them in a package?
You don't pay them for that. They literally will work with your doctor and put that together. So there's some flyers back here to phone.
And men don't leave the house without their wallets. Am I correct, guys? And ladies rarely leave without their purse. So put it in your purse, your wallet, and always have it. If you need long distance traveling, always take, if you can, get your latest EKG and your latest labs, because that is so much information that the emergency people can do to save
quickly.
time and your life.
You bet. And quickly. Thank you.
Sorry.
No sorries. I'm here for one purpose. I don't have to work anymore. I do this because I believe so strongly in us being able to have healthier, higher quality of life. So anything that helps with that. I do want to say, though, that these packets do have the name of the medication
okay.
and the dosage. And like this one, I was just noticing, this has the name of 2, this has the name of just the 1, because maybe you only take this one every other day. So they really, it's like foolproof on these. So, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to let people,
And it's called, it's a drug deactivation disposal. Taking too many or taking the wrong ones, as you mentioned over here, if we have medication that like we were taking, something's not working well with it, the doctor changed it up. Instead of keeping that old one for like just in case, you can use these and put the old medication in here and it deactivates it. Because don't we all think like, what do we do with the medicine? We're not supposed to flush it. We're not supposed to put it in the trash. So what do we do with it? Don't just keep. Now there are places like
How do you dispose of that then?
you can just throw it away. It's deactivated. You can just throw it in the trash. Yep. Because everything, it's charcoal deactivation.
How does this,
I'm sorry, just,
two other things, you can take them to any Publix,
Is it
and
Pub-
they have a little thingy, you just pop it in there. And the other thing is, when my husband passed, the nurse took coffee grounds in a can and put all of his pills in there and then threw it away.
away and they're gone.
What was the date of that, Deborah?
October 26th.
Will it be the community center here?
Yep. You know, I think they're going to do it at their facility.
Oh, at the police?
But you can call them and ask.
Okay.
As far as I know, they're doing it at the Wildwood Police. They're on 301,
Yeah.
as far as I know. But you can call them and ask. Yes, John.
Also, the fire stations in the villages have a drop box.
Will they take them?
Oh, do
Go
they?
in and just drop them in.
Didn't know that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Medications that come from the VA will take that to the drop box at the clinic.
That's wonderful. I can promise you, 3 years ago, you couldn't, and we're not allowed to take them anymore. We used to be able to get them from our clients, put them in a bag, and take them to Tiberi's Pharmacy. They were a drop-off place, or maybe to a police department or whatever. But according to the law now, the home health and home care laws, you're not allowed to carry them in your car anymore. You're not allowed to pick prescriptions up for people anymore, and you're not allowed to carry them to dispose of them. So things like
There's
this
another question.
are good, yes.
We keep a list of our medications along with the dosage in our car.
Good.
What's good?
For both of us.
Along with, very quickly, I just want to touch a little bit on, I do a whole other thing on dementia, but I want to touch a little bit on what if you've got a neighbor or a friend or a brother, sister, whatever, how would you know when it might be time that they might require a little help? What signs would you look for? You know, if you've got a neighbor that you're friendly with, you know, you've been good neighbors, and all of a sudden you see changes in that neighbor.
Can't remember words or
In speaking with them, maybe, yep. What
Start
else?
asking you questions like, what day is it? You know, or-
Asking questions that don't seem to fit, right? But there's some other real telltale signs if
Repeating
you don't
the
even
same-
talk to them,
Repeating the same thing about every 5 minutes.
for sure. What about how they're dressing, how they're taking care of their hygiene? It's really one of the first things to go. You know, this person used to be dressed nicely all the time, and all of a sudden their hair looks dirty. They're not dressed, they're wearing the same clothes every day. What's up with that, right? Or you go into their house and you see a big stack of bills sitting around or paperwork or whatever. They used to cook and now you just see like dirty dishes or cans of, you know, quick cooked food. And that's not how they were. That's not who they were. It's going to be a tough conversation to have, but it's a conversation that's necessary, if not with them, with people that from church or people that love them, their families or whatever. But there's things to notice. What if they jokingly tell you that they've got, if in fact you know somebody that needs help, there's two things that you need to be thoughtful about. One is home health and one is home care. Home health is exactly what it says. It's health related, it's skilled. It's somebody that can come in and do blood work, you know, draw blood or take your blood pressure or help change a wound, or it's skilled care. They come in, they do what they do, and they leave. Which is great, that's what they're alone and unable to leave the home. And how lonely would that be? And so sometimes it's about companionship and helping them with things around the home that they're no longer able to do. Like carrying a laundry basket or doing the laundry, and you can have all of those things taken care of. Now, that said, and you know somebody that could really benefit from that, what do you need to know before you bring somebody into your home? What did you check on when you had somebody babysit for your children? Or what? To my knowledge, there are only 2 employer-based companies in our area right now. I think there might be a third one, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name. They're relatively new. Our company is called Home Instead. The other employer-based is Right at Home. And then there's a third one. Again, I apologize, I'll have to just write them down.
Visiting Angels?
No, Visiting Angels is a 1099. Granny Nannies is a 1099. There's Comfort Keepers. Nothing wrong with the 1099, but they're different. You need to understand what the differences are because sometimes it can matter for what you're looking for. A 1099 is a contract worker. Again, there is a time and place for that. Contract workers can be wonderful. What you need to be aware of with a contract worker, though, is that they carry the liability and you carry the liability. So if something were to happen in the home, the worker can't claim workman's comp because they don't work for anybody. They work for themselves. They're an independent contractor. So you could sue the client, you could sue you, and you say, well, I've got homeowner's insurance, so I'm okay. No, you're not, because that's considered a domestic employee. So no, you're not. Your homeowner's insurance would not cover that.
So what do we need?
So employer-based companies, and again, I really want to be clear when I say there's nothing wrong with the 1099. There's a time and a place for them. But an employer-based assumes all that liability. They do a background check. They do a drug test. They do the training by law. A 1099 can't train its folks because they're not their folks. They don't belong to them. They're independent contractors. So, and then continuing education, so that the company, when it's employer-based, the company takes on all the liability if something happens. They're bonded, insured. So ask those questions. Ask questions like, what would you do if somebody fell? What do you do if I'm not there and there's an emergency, there's a hurricane coming? How do you handle that? How do you handle, what the plan is for that? Do you have an after-hours line? And if so, who tends to that? For us, it's somebody who works in our office. We don't ship it off to Michigan or India or, wherever. It's at our office. So that person has access to your file. They know who the caregiver is. And so they can take care of everything right there. And I can tell you from experience, if a caregiver is somebody's house in the middle of the night and the person calls and says, I'm sick, the caregiver, one of us goes. Somebody's going to cover that. With the 1099, you don't have that option because they don't work for you. And so, you kind of pick and choose what, if you're the 1099, you pick and choose what shifts you want. So ask the kinds of questions things are really important to you of what that would look like. This is probably, due diligence is probably more important regarding this issue than anything you've ever done. Yeah.
Are they both based on like certain number of hours that you have these?
Most of the time, both of the weeks, if you're still with us, we'll return that to you. If they're not going to do that, they say it's a contract for a year, hang up the phone, because that's not what you want. You don't have to have that. There's too many good places out there that won't make you do that. What if I'm the caregiver, but I'm going to go on vacation and go see my kids for 2 weeks? Do I still have to pay? Remember the old daycare times? Even if you were on vacation, you still had to pay the daycare? You shouldn't have to do that with this. We introduce our caregivers before they ever come to spend time with you. So we've already been out there talking with you and kind of have a planned care and all those things. So we know you. So our caregiver for the first time has to meet us outside so that we come in with them, her or him. So that you'll know it really is a person from the company. Our caregiver knows it's really a person that we've already vetted, so that's safety on both sides, right? So those are the kinds of questions. How would you know? Yes?
How long has your company been in business?
Home Instead, it's a franchise-based company. They've been in business for over 30 years. The one here has been around for probably 15 years. It's family-owned, very Christian, wonderful family. I'm back at work because I think this is important and because I trust them.
Good, thank you.
They're family-owned and run, and they walk the walk. Absolutely. They'll say, we don't necessarily want to be the best. We want to be the most trusted. And that's true. I've seen them turn down clients that they think they can't help. If a person can't stand and transfer, we're not going to take them. And nobody should that's kind of a guideline by ACA that we shouldn't do that. So those are the kinds of things to look out for.
Where is your?
The office itself is located in Leesburg on 3rd Street, but we cover all of Lake and Sumter, almost all of Sumter. Yes, ma'am.
How about Marion?
I've been with this company for 7 years and I have not seen that,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry. But
yeah,
what I can say about that is that they will come out to the house and they'll do an assessment, and it is going to be probably 30 to 34. I don't know why it was that. I don't know if their needs created that or something,
Yeah.
or if it was a couple. But for an individual, and it's true, some people can't afford that.
no,
And I don't want to minimize this, but like I'd like to have a 4Runner, but I can't afford a 4Runner. You know, so I have to do something differently. Long-term care insurance will cover it.
That's my question.
VA will cover it. We're actually in the process of getting our certification for VA. We have all the certification, they just have to put us on the
I'm VA.
list. And so now, I highly urge you to call them again,
yeah,
and I highly urge you to ask for a man named John,
oh, okay.
Jon. He is the kindest, most gentle human being I have ever met in my whole life, and I'm almost 74 years old, so that is a big deal.
Yeah,
He's wonderful. They will come out and they will do an assessment and say, you know what, you could change this and this and this, and I don't think you really need to have somebody out. I mean, we're welcome to do that if you want, but they're not going to just try to force feed a need on you. Sometimes somebody will be recovering from a surgery and they'll say, you know, you're up to 20 hours a week, and we've got a nurse, we've got quality assurance people that come out and kind of check on that all the time to make sure things are really the way they should be. So they'll say, you know what, you're doing really well. I think you could probably cut back to 12 hours. The 4-hour shift, she's out in long-term care and the VA, it is self-pay. Regular insurance companies just won't pay for custodial yet. I am a lobbying fanatic about that. I don't understand that. It is what allows people to stay at home. It is what allows people to not go back into the hospital when they've been sick, because there's somebody there to care for the daily activities. You'd think, I mean, so maybe, no, I'm not going to say that on camera. Inform yourselves, people, and do it right now. Do it now. Don't wait until you fall. Don't wait until something happens. Don't wait until you've had surgery. Do it now. You call a place like Right at Home or Home Instead, and you say, you know what, I don't need this yet, but I can see where I might need this down the road. Can you just come and talk to me? And if they don't, and if you have this poor woman's experience, I want to know. I'll give you my personal phone number. I would want to know, because that is unacceptable. And I have never seen it happen, and I'm so sorry to hear about it. Yes, ma'am.
Does the VA cover spouses too, or just the veteran?
Well, it would be the veteran that would get the benefits if the veteran's the one that needed the help. Now, that's going to help you because you're there.
Caregiver,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But if
called,
I
I think
was
it's
the one
called
that
aid
needed
and
the help,
assist.
it wouldn't help. They
Correct.
wouldn't cover it.
I don't, unless you have, benefits. And I don't know how that plan would work. Long-term care insurances also can be really difficult. They can be very confusing, and we have somebody in the office that will help to walk that through. Because there's like elimination periods, and they're all different. They're all different plans. So somebody that knows what they're doing with this can kind of help you put that all through. So that's all pretty quick. People are getting up. That's my cue.
He started late.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please don't be sorry, and thank you for your input. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jan.
Any questions about, I know I get very excitable in this part of it, so. Can I answer anything else for anyone? I want to also say, if you feel like, you'd like to put something back and you would like to have a job as a caregiver, we would love to have you. We usually ask, again, for like 12 hours a week. If you could commit to that, and you say, you know what, I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons. I could do that for 3 or 4 hours. It's your schedule. You say, the only day I can work is Sunday. Well, maybe that's all we need for a client. So if you're interested in it, I've got just call us or whatever. There's cards up there with the number on them. So we're always looking for, good quality, loving people that maybe want to put something back and do something else. And there were a couple people that just really,
Stop off,
You
and the
help me
literature
bring
is on
myself.
the larger table there. There's
I
a lot of
told you you were
cookies
getting
left,
special. This is
so help yourself to cookies.